is 3 at 3. 3 at 3 every business day. We bring you unusual option activity and maybe a little insight into how professional traders deal with markets like the kind we got right now. So let's dive into it, shall we? Disclaimer is that this is for educational and informational purposes only, that you should not infer that I am your investment advisor. I am giving you information that I think is valuable, and if you want to use it and educate yourself a little bit about how markets really work and where money is being placed in the market that day, well, we encourage you to tune in every day for 3 at 3. Also, we have certain rights, intellectual property rights, which include patents, trademarks, registered marks, copyrights, all of that for virtually everything you're about to see. Let's get the party started, shall we? There's my buddy Jocko Willink. I was the first guy to get him on CNBC. I brought him on CNBC with Brian Sullivan just after Mr. Musk had fired up that blunt, and I was able to buy stock below 190 a share. That's before the 5-for-1 stock split, of course, when everybody said, oh, this guy's done. He's done. He was done, of course, when Mr. Musk was putting those tweets about 420 funding secured, I think was the tweet. And then he was done when he smoked a blunt on Jocko's show, even though he didn't go on, not Jocko's show, I'm sorry, on Joe Rogan's show. So I reached out to my buddy Jocko and said, would you like to come on CNBC and talk about leadership and taking ownership and all that? Because this man is an expert on it. And he said, John, I'll be happy to. And he did. And Sully and I had a great time with him there, and it really kicked off Tesla being one of my largest positions. But anyway, look at what Jocko's saying here, folks. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is only one way. So get after it. That's a message that Pete and I try to bring to you guys every day. And discipline, discipline, discipline. Days like today, you need that discipline. But we're talking probably today about discipline on taking losses, not just discipline on taking profits. Some of you have a problem with one side, others of you have a problem with the other side. You got to put them both together. You got to be able to cut your losses, and you've got to be able to pull money off the table when you've got winners. So thank you, Jocko, for the inspiration. I'll have more on discipline later in this broadcast. Let's take a look at the 30-year Treasury, shall we? Because I've owned these puts in the TLT since January and before, but I mean, January is when I really loaded up on them. And it was, as you see there, about 157. Look at how many times those puts have paid off. And today they came back in and bought more puts. M-O-A-R, more puts. Yeah, that's right. They were buying a ton of these puts on the 20-year bond. Well, that's what it looked like as they were buying those puts. As we cited it, with it at 133.64, they bought 8,600. They bought more, then they bought more, then they bought more of those puts. Now, as you know, these contracts, the TLT, moves inverse to interest rates. So just as the bond moves lower, that means yields are higher. That is what we're talking about here. So the bets have been made. Bill Perkins, another friend who's just written a book. I'm trying to get him on my podcast. Come on, Bill. Come on the podcast. As people that believe that rates are going higher and perhaps going higher faster than the Fed would like, certainly faster than the market would like, this is going to stress people out. And with all due respect to my friend Josh, as I said today on the show, to Josh Brown and everyone on the show and in the viewing audience, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And that's a Mike Tyson quote, attributed to Mike anyway. Perhaps other boxers have said it. It is very true. You have a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So Josh brings up the great point that you want volatility, you want disruption, because that means you get to buy things at cheaper prices. We'll see how many people hold on through big declines like this and then get back in, as many of us were able to get back in last March and take advantage of sell-offs. But there's only a certain amount of us that can trade like that. There's an awful lot of folks like you perhaps that would like to get in, ride that wave, and then they get out because they get scared, and many times they get scared at the worst possible time. Today ain't the worst possible time to get scared. I think that if the rates continue to do what they're doing, we will see more days like today. I've said that to Patty, who is my producer for the halftime report. I've said it to others at CNBC and to many of you that when these things go, they go, and you don't want to get in the way. You want to wait until the dust settles a little. By the way, crypto is doing pretty well. Let me just give you a quick update on where crypto is right now, because I have the Voyager app, so I'm able to see, for instance, how we're doing. And let's see, Voyager right now says that, well, Bitcoin, BTC, is 58,300. It is up 0.4% in the last hour. I like owning this particular asset. It's up 6% in the last day. This is something that I think you should certainly check out. You need to check out our Daily Crypto Bite, which is a show that we do every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with those two gentlemen, Monty and Chris. And we talk about which cryptos we're buying and selling. We talk about the Doge of the day. And that crypto room costs you $1. $1 for the first month. If you don't like it, walk away, you lost $1. If you do like it, you can sign up and continue for $29 a month. I think you'll find it's well worth it. So that's not for the broadcast, that's free. But if you want to be in the crypto room, which literally runs 24 hours a day, sign up over at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. That's marketrebellion.com/crypto. All right, let's talk about PAGS, PagSeguro. With it at roughly $48, they bought 15,000 of the September double nickel, 55. This is 555. Double nickel calls, they bought them big time. That one I talked about on the halftime. Now let's talk a little bit about our YouTube channel. As you can see there, we've now topped 15,000 subscribers. It is completely free, several thousand videos that we've done, myself, my brother Pete, AJ Monty, our Daily Crypto Bites show, my 3 at 3, Pete's The Take. You get the idea. There's a lot of content here. It is all free. If you go to YouTube and in the YouTube bar, search bar, you type in Market Rebellion like I've done there, that's what will come up. Then just click subscribe. You will thank me for it. Let's talk about the XLF. Didn't get to mention this one on the halftime, but I do own a ton of XLF. You may have heard me say I own a lot of banking stocks, including JP Morgan, KeyBank, Bank of America, Capital One. I own another. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. But XLF has all of those and more in it. Look at that. Somebody bought 100,000 May 37 calls. So that's 2 months into the future because we're in March right now, right? So that's April, May. 2 months out into the future, they bought calls that are significantly out of the money. I think that's noteworthy. I traded that. Here is what that looks like right now. Financial Select Spider. Take a look. It hit a new high today of 35.29. It's just off that high now. Take a look at the volume. 64 million shares versus a 60 million share-ish average. There's a lot of buying in here today. Now, friends, let's talk about discipline. I'll get a couple chances to talk to you about discipline as I go through some of these questions, but this is the way I trade. I trade cutting my losses at 50% for options, not for stocks. If I pay $1 for an option and it falls to 50 cents, I am out. If I paid $2.25 and it falls to $1.15, I'm out. You get the idea. I am constantly cutting losses because not every trade's a winner. On the other hand, trades that are winners, I am also cutting, reducing those positions. On a 100% profit, I bought an option at 75 cents. It's now trading at $1.50. I take half off the table, put it in my pocket. I know if I do that, I'll be at this game a long time. What do I do with the rest? I let them keep running, and I snug up a put or a stop order underneath as it continues to run up. And each day I move that stop up. If we start pulling back, bang, hit the exit. This way I'm disciplining myself on my entries and exits. I'm disciplining myself on losses and profits. I encourage you to do the same. It is the most important lesson you will ever learn in trading. This is something also that I wanted to show you. Look at the fact that we're at 800,000 puts traded in the triple Qs versus 568,000 calls. That is not normal. That is panic to some degree. I'm not saying that, like I say, that this is a washout, this is cathartic, or any of those kinds of terms. But it is certainly significant and noteworthy that people are buying that many puts. These puts are being bought, folks, not sold. So I wanted to point it out to you. All those exchanges are on the left side column. The calls are in the middle. The puts are on the right. I think you guys get that. This is the Invesco QQQ Trust. So this is the Nasdaq. And there is some at least mild, if not medium, panic going on in the Nasdaq. Questions? You've got questions. I've got answers. Let's get into it. The pullback. Shanaz Alvi says, and the handle is at ALVI_SHAHNAZ. I think tech pullback right here now is a buy, as we will just accept that higher yields are coming due to solid economy ahead, even though I think the economy will grow at a much shorter pace than the 10-year yields. 2% by June, 2.5% by September 21, and reprices Damaka. Okay. You've said a lot there, Shanaz. I think if we start seeing yields move up as fast as you're saying, sir, we're going to see the market a lot lower. And the market will go lower faster than the bonds will go up. That is my prediction. I don't root for it. I certainly hope the Fed does a twist of some sort to start buying those longer dated security bonds that we're talking about. But right now, Jay Powell sounded like he was pretty sanguine, pretty comfortable with where he and the Fed are. I don't think they'll be comfortable if the market does what it's doing today for a few more sessions. And that includes the move in the bonds. I tweeted this morning. Our THCX has doubled the performance of MSOS in 2021, which is factual. THCX, which is the cannabis ETF, it's about a $200 million ETF. Proudly, Pete and I are some of the advisors to this fund, this ETF. 73% year to date. Yeah, that's not so bad, is it? And the refiling of the Safe Banking Act, refiling within the House, that was reported widely that this is being refiled. This would be huge. Maybe not as huge as when California legalized medical and recreational, or New Jersey that just jumped in, or Arizona that just jumped in, or Illinois, my state, that just jumped in on both. But I think this is something that's necessary, something that's big, and something that will drive higher market prices for the stocks in the cannabis space. Noah, give you a tip of the hat, Noah. Noah works over, I believe, at the competitor ETF. And he said, thanks for the mention, because we did mention MSOS. I didn't even know you guys knew the product existed. Of course we do. We always look at the competitors in the landscape. But anyway, to be fair, it's like comparing value and growth. Still nice of you to mention us. Noah, a lot of respect, my friend. I'm not a hater. There's room in this sector for a lot of good players. You guys are obviously that, a good player. I think that ours being a pure cannabis ETF, we don't have a lot of the stuff that many others have, folks. many other companies have a lot of the tobacco companies and things like that. We're not into that. This ETF was created to be a cannabis ETF. Basically, we rebalance monthly for THCX, and we view stocks that are 500 million in market cap or more for the fund. So anyway, that's, I think, why we've got that outperformance. And again, there's a picture of that outperformance, as you see, as of today, roughly 31% for MSOS and 72.5% for the cannabis ETF THCX. Bang. Terry McBride, whose handle is TERRYMC 31142575. Sorry, Terry, let me do that again. At TERRYMC 311-42755. Thank you. Terry said, do you ever sell puts to fund call purchase on a name you have conviction on? Up 300% on GM April 60 calls and sold 45 puts as well. Boom! Well, a lot of us do that, Terry. I don't recommend it for people that aren't as skilled as you. And that's not just me pumping some sunshine up your butt. A lot of people don't like to spend money. I'm one of them. But a lot of people don't understand the risks of selling a put. And I am certainly one of them that does understand that risk, as I hope Terry is. If you're new to options, you don't want to do this strategy because you're basically obligating yourself to buy, in this case, General Motors at 45 on down by selling that put. Usually that kicks in at the worst possible time for you. In other words, they put stock to you when you don't want stock, when everybody's trying to get away. So for traders like Terry, for traders like me that have been in the game for a while, yes, it is a great way to trade, but I am not advocating that for people who have not invested the time into trading options that Terry and I have. Thank you. And Wednesdays with Wendy. Love you back in your Game of Thrones chair, Doc. Yep, this morning I was taping from my Game of Thrones chair, as she calls it. She's not the only one to call it that. I get that a lot. And by the way, Wendy will be on with me tomorrow. New podcast, part of our Compound Interest podcast, will be hopefully weekly. We'll start off with it being every other week, but we hope to make it weekly, and Wendy is my performance coach. So it's not just Billions, the guys on Billions, Axe, that has a performance coach. I've got a performance coach. I met her. I think she's great. I've known her now for almost, I guess it'll be 2 years, Wendy, in May. And she certainly is great at getting you over stumbling blocks to make your trades bigger, to make your bankroll bigger. And Wendy's fabulous. She's going to be taking questions. I will be tweeting you to send us your questions for Wendy. And we'll try to get to as many of them as we can tomorrow when we tape with Wendy, my performance coach, on Friday. So get those questions in, and thank you as always. Please know that we appreciate all of you. Know that we appreciate every one of you that shares this with a friend. It helps us, and hopefully if you're getting something out of it, since these broadcasts are free, if you can do us that favor to tell a friend about the broadcasts, we appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow back here on both the Daily Crypto Bite and 3 at 3. Aloha.